misspelled Quality Learning Center, which Brown says permanently closed last week. In a strange contradiction, however, our cameras this afternoon captured dozens of children being dropped off at that daycare.
Get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here. Out. Move. Get the fuck out of here.
You cannot come in here. We don't care. We don't know where it is. Get out. That's not your job. You don't know that. Get out.
Get the fuck out of here.
Man.
Get the fuck out of here. Out.
Move.
Get the fuck out of here.
You cannot come in here. We don't care. We don't know where it is. Get out. That's not your job. You don't know that. Get out.
He's recording.
Get out of here.
Hey. They're recording.
Move.
I didn't give you permission to record me.
What kind of
no,
looking for?
Why you come here? Why you have permission?
No.
No, get out of here.
Get
out of here. Out.
You have to stop the camera.
You have to
stop the camera. You have to stop the camera.
You have to stop the camera.
Stuff up. This is a lie. I don't care. Who do you work for? Who do you work for? No, who do you work for? Who do you work for? Nick Shirley. I don't care about Nick Shirley. This guy. But who do you work for? Nick Shirley. I don't care about Nick Shirley. That's who he's working for today. Nick Shirley. Stop here. Stop here. Get out of here. Yes. Would you like to give a statement, sir? And see, you guys say I can't film, but look at you guys filming. You can do that. You can film here.
From the statement that's on the website, advanced mobility. This address is too far. You don't care about the state of Minnesota or what?
Where's advanced mobility at? That's all we're asking.
Anyone?
This doesn't even exist.
Advanced mobility?
What's it been like today?
Why did you go to
Does it exist?
Get over here. White business, why not just white business?
Why? I grew up in Minneapolis. I don't have to go anywhere. Did you grow up here? Did you grow up here?
Why do you care?
I was born in Minneapolis. So you're telling me to go
Go to the
somewhere.
white place.
I grew up here.
You're telling us to go to the white place.
What?
White business.
Are you a
Go to
racist?
white business.
Are you a racist?
You are racist.
How?
So you see there that Nick Shirley is still out there working, and a lot of people are not happy about that. I guess at the end, one of the men told Nick Shirley and his partner that they should go check out a white business. So they do not like all the scrutiny that they're receiving. And, at the same time, Nick Shirley is an investigative journalist. They don't have to answer to him, but they're going to have to answer to the state and federal department. So if you've been following this, it's gone absolutely insane. Talking about the daycare fraud, the autism services fraud that's happening in Minnesota. It seems to be majority Somali that's been doing this. We've talked about the money. We've talked about some of these red flags, and we're seeing how deep all of this goes. This didn't start last week. This didn't start with one viral video. This has gone back years. We're going to show you some of the videos that have been going back years, talking about the same facilities that's being talked about right now. So what's happening right now today just proves that this wasn't an accident, because buried inside of all of this is something that is so wild it just sounds fake. A daycare phone number that doesn't go to a daycare, it goes straight to the governor's office. It is so insane. Let's just get into it and I'll show you right now.
So guys, this is absolutely mind-blowing. So I was watching the most recent video by Nick Shirley exposing these daycare centers. Now, they're going daycare to daycare, and the next one that they go to is called Sweet Angel Childcare. This is where they show up to. And this is the business right here. Sweet Angel Childcare in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now, listen to where this phone number goes to when you call this childcare center. Just wait for it.
Thank you for contacting the office of Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. Our office is located at 130 State Capitol at 75 Reverend.
Oh my God. I'll do it again. Sweet Angel Childcare. It goes to Governor Tim Walz's office. Why is a child care center directly going to the office of the governor? Make it make sense. Hold on.
Thank you for contacting the office of Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan.
If this is not a direct link to Tim Walz and these fraudulent child care centers, I don't know what else is. Bro, this is crazy. I'm just in shock right now. I was recording a YouTube video and reacting to this video, and I was like, let me call and look up their Google reviews. I was just looking up their Google reviews, and I was like, let me call this number. And I call it, and it goes to Governor Tim Walz's office. Make that make sense.
You see that. And now the state has finally responded, and it's even more nonsense is happening, because when you look at the past and then when you look at the state and what they're doing right now, you start to realize something uncomfortable. This is not just one bad daycare. This is not just one mistake. This is a system of fraud, alleged fraud, that is being allowed. And once you see how far back it goes and see how they're responding now, it's something that you just can't unsee. Let's get into it. For years in Minnesota, daycare centers were paid huge amounts of taxpayer money, millions. Some of these centers were flagged. Some of them were investigated. Some were cited again and again and again. And yet the money kept flowing. People did notice. Journalists noticed. Nick Shirley's not the first one, obviously. Investigators notice. People inside the system notice. And now independent creators like Nick Shirley are walking into these same places and finding the same problem. It's the same setup, the same excuses, and the same outcome. Like, this first clip is important. This isn't Nick Shirley. This is a separate investigation covering the period from 2019 to 2023. Same city, same kind of daycare, same story. Listen carefully to the violations, and then remember how much money still went out the door.
I started by visiting Quality Learning Center Daycare.
So it is that 14B.
Which sits right in the heart of downtown Minneapolis. Between 2019 and 2023, the Minnesota Department of Human Services found 95 violations at this location. They range from failure to keep hazardous items away from children to no records for 16 children, which include things like immunizations, emergency contacts, and medical needs. So state investigators placed Quality Learning Center on a conditional license in 2022. I went to the daycare's location several times, and only once did I see people there.
Oh, that's your daycare.
But I did not see any children.
So there are 80 kids in there?
No.
After school? Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you.
DHS declined an interview, but in a statement acknowledged Quality Learning Center was put on a conditional license because of its poor safety record. But it still received nearly $8 million in taxpayers' money since 2019. Its conditional status removed in 2024.
95 violations. Let that sit in for a second. That's not just paperwork problems. That's not, oops, we forgot a form. That is unsafe conditions, hazard near kids, no medical records, no emergency contacts. And the reporter goes there multiple times, barely sees anyone, no kids. But somehow on paper, there are dozens of kids enrolled. And despite of all that, nearly $8 million in taxpayer money went out the window. Now, remember this moment, because later in the video, you're going to hear the state explain how all this has been supposedly handled. Here's the key part. The state knew. They put the daycare on conditional license. They acknowledged the safety problems. Then they removed the condition and kept paying. And when you hear how the Walz administration responds to this later, the explanation starts to fall apart. That's not invisible fraud. That's fraud happening in plain sight. And we could talk about how this has been going on for so long, because people did notice.
All of a sudden there was a boom, and people were buying very expensive homes and posting about those homes.
Where was all the money coming from?
Everybody knew, but nobody had the courage to speak about it because they understood the repercussions. So I decided to speak out.
Afraid of repercussions for speaking out in the Twin Cities, Abdi went on a trip to Africa early this year. When he got there, he says he was attacked and pepper sprayed for information he put online regarding feeding our future.
That's how systems rot. Fear. When speaking up can cost you your safety, your job, or even worse, people stay quiet. And in that case, the fear isn't coming from nowhere. We have whistleblowers say outright that people inside the community knew that something wasn't right, but they didn't want to be the one to speak first. Because if you speak first, you're no longer just questioning a business, you're questioning neighbors, family, friends, community leaders. And that pressure is real. You get labeled, you get isolated, you get accused of betraying your own people. But that doesn't stop there. It also is the fear of the system itself. When the same state agencies keep renewing licenses, keep approving payments, keep saying there's no fraud found, people start to believe the message. Not that everything is fine, but nothing will change. Why risk your livelihood? Why risk your reputation? Why put your name on the line when people in power keep signaling that they're not interested in hearing it? So let's be honest here. When the Walz administration talks about the issue, the focus is not protecting whistleblowers. It's basically still about controlling the narrative. So if you're someone inside the system, a worker, a provider, a parent, you're watching this and you're probably thinking, if the state already knows and they keep paying anyway, what happens to me if I speak up? That silence becomes policy. And while people stay quiet, the checks keep coming. That's how power works. That's just human nature. But let's talk about this because we have some new information coming from the state of Minnesota officially responding to the viral video, and what they said actually makes things worse. Here.
While we have questions about some of the methods that were used in the video, we do take the concerns that the video raises about fraud very seriously.
Tiki Brown is the commissioner of the new Minnesota Department of Children, Youth, and Families, which is responsible for paying federal child care assistance to daycares that file claims. She says inspectors went out today to double check that children, in fact, are present.
There have been ongoing investigations with several of those centers. None of those investigations uncovered findings of fraud.
Brown confirmed that the daycares in Shirley's video have active licenses with the state and continue receiving payments. Brown confirmed that the daycares in Shirley's video have active licenses with the state and continue receiving payments. The exception, one that closed years ago, and the misspelled Quality Learning Center, which Brown says permanently closed last week. In a strange contradiction, however, our cameras this afternoon captured dozens of children being dropped off at that daycare, the manager telling us they are legitimate, they are open, and they never have been closed.
Now, I confirmed this afternoon that the State Department of Children, Youth, and Families has a total of 55 open investigations related to the Child Care Assistance Program.
Quality Learning Center in Minneapolis, which misspelled learning on its sign, they say they're fixing the spelling.
A lot of the journalism that's been going on the last couple of days has been really dishonest. I don't want to point fingers at anybody, but I do feel like what was done was someone came to our building outside of operating hours. When there's a specific sign on our door that says our days and our hours. He came outside of those hours and then claimed, hey, they're closed and they're still making money. They're using taxpayer money to work.
And then suddenly when these reports come out, now the children have started to arrive. So somebody's hiding something here.
Well, the children were, what the report said, I think, is that the children were arriving. They had parents bringing the kids there for the optics of it. And then like an hour later, the kids left just so it looked like that there were kids showing up to these places. But Guy, I'm sorry, you're a dad. I'm not dropping my kid off at a learning center that spells learning, leering.
Yeah. They admitted that the video forced actions. Inspectors were sent out because of the viral exposure, not because of years of violations, not because of millions of dollars being spent, because of views. The state said that prior investigations found no fraud, but they also confirmed that these daycares had active licenses. These daycares were still getting paid. So you investigated, you had concerns, and you kept paying anyway. That's enabling. Then we get to the misspelled Quality Learning Center contradiction. The state said in this clip that it was permanently closed, but the cameras show kids are being dropped off. The manager says that they were never closed. So who's wrong and what the hell is going on? Because either the state doesn't know what's happening or they're just saying things that just don't match reality. And finally, the number no one should ignore, 55 open investigations. That alone tells you that this is not an isolated issue. This is why this allegedly has gone on for years. Not because it was hidden, not because it was a genius idea, not because no one knew, but because it was allowed. When the same violations happen at the same types of places across multiple years, responsibility doesn't just stop at the daycare door. It climbs up the ladder. And when no one is held accountable, this keeps happening. That's the story. It's not about the rumor or the hype. It's a pattern of alleged fraud behavior. But let me know what you guys think about this story in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.